Hey ideas. So you've made your cover page, you've made an exploded view. I want to show one thing with the exploded view that Onshape does a little weird, and I'm not happy with it. Yours aren't perfect, and I can't make it perfect. Um, let's go do that. So here I am in my drawing. Here's my exploded view, and if you look and you just look, I didn't notice this until I looked at somebody else who had already turned it in. It it is kind of a mess. It's hard to visualize. I mean, it's not that difficult to visualize where it's coming from, but I think that there is a technique that Inventor had available that isn't available, or I haven't been able to figure out here in Onshape, and that was there was these trail lines. So I'm in my sketch here, or not my sketch. I'm just on the drawing, and I'm going to draw a line to represent this. And what it would do is it would just go from that point that we had, so from what you pulled it out of, all the way to where it went, you would get this trail line. And like you see how I went from this hitch peg all the way to that hole, it would like go right through, and this trail line would meet up exactly with the other trail line, and it would kind of disappear. And it does look better. I'm trying to make sure I get the very center of that. I'm going to go to the train. I don't know the exact spot, but I'm going to go to the center of uh, that wheel hole, and you can see that it just gives you a little bit better idea about where those are going. For this one here, let me do one more. So I'm not going to do all of them. You can put these on if you want, because it like goes through your parts and doesn't like hide behind them. I'm you know I'm non-committal on that about what's better, what's not. So I'm going to put that right there, and so you can kind of see like what pulled apart. I did not mean to move that drawing. We're going to Control Z that. Um, so you can do that as well. But I want to show some of the other special features that we want to add to some of our other, or special views that I want to add to some of our other sheets. So here on the train, I'm going to add a detail view, and so I'll show you how to make that. So I've put my top, front, right side. I put the left side out here as well because it's got some features that I need to be able to dimension to, and I want to dimension to hidden lines. So I've got that on there, and then I'm going to blow this up. I'm going to zoom in on it, and I do that with a detail view. So this little stair step with the A. Let me zoom in on this a little bit, and just going to pick a point kind of right here in the middle, and I get a nice big circle. I'm going to get a little bigger than I need, and it's going to blow up that or zoom in on that that view for me, and then I can go in and I can put in my stuff. A note here on all of my views. Can I hold shift and highlight all of them? Yeah. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully, so I've got all my views highlighted. I'm going to right click, and let's see if this works. We're going to go to show hidden lines and turn on all our hidden lines, because we should see hidden lines. Becomes a little bit of a mess. Sometimes if you've got like some section views and things like that, you can remove the hidden lines because the objects, those things are visible elsewhere. For this one, I'm just turning it all on. The only view that looks nice is the front view. You need to make sure you have your center marks. So I'm going to put those in there. They come in way too small. It is what it is. I guess I could put them here as well. They're always the same size. Inventor does this better. I can even, that one shows up and that one shows up. I can even, I need this one too. I want to also put like center lines down the middle of certain objects. So like of these holes, even though they are hidden, we are representing holes, and they should have a hidden, or ooh, that was not good. So for this one, undo. I'm selecting edge to edge center line. It's just taking two different edges and putting it right between the middle of them. So I'm clicking on this edge and this edge, and it's throwing one right down the middle. On these, it's nice in that like you can kind of highlight it, grab an edge, make it a little longer if need be. On some other things, you're not capable. I didn't put in all of mine. I want to expedite this video as much as possible. Another thing I'm not a huge fan of, like on this detail view here, I just moved that around. In Inventor, it makes it clear that it's a detail view, but it doesn't necessarily leave this circle. I can't figure out how to turn that circle line off. It should just be there on the top. So the reason why that's important is because when I go here and I start to dimension, I'm going to dimension to my center line on this, and let's do the center line there, and you see that it kind of starts to interfere with my dimensions, and that's pretty annoying. Let me throw on one more. I should be able to do a hole call out on this since I made holes. Yeah, it's interesting. I won't be able to grab that. Will I be able to grab the bottom? Yeah. So we're going to put that one there. It's not a great spot for it, but you see we ran out of room. Let's put it there and drag it afterwards. And I do want to show one more thing. Can I move that over there? Whew. Well, we're going to put it right there now, because I'm also going to make one change. If I click on this, it says prefix. Can I do suffix? I'm just going to type in 3x space, and that just basically says, hey, all three of these holes are going to be the same type. Oops, I didn't hit the checkbox. Let me double click it. 3x space checkbox. There you go. So that's a detail view, which is just a zoom in. It shows the scale. Its scale is different from everything else. Your scale is noted on your sheet automatically. You're going to need to put in all the dimensions that are required to build this in the right location, in the best location. If you really need some more room, which you might, you can do this. You can go to your sheet, I think double click it, and you can change that sheet size to B. Don't do anything else. B is large. That's a 11 by 17 piece of paper. You can up it if you really need to. I upped it for my exploded view. Let's see. The next thing we're going to look at is the stack. And on the stack, we've got, I've made this interesting view, which is kind of like a section view. And it's like this free form section view. And that's called a breakout. So it's a broken out section or a breakout view. I'm going to delete it here because that's the only way I can recreate it. And I'm going to put in a projected view. And I'm just going to select this view, and the right side view is the exact same as the front view, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to use this view to create my breakout section. So I'm going to select breakout section, and it asks me to create a closed profile, and it gives me this spline tool, which helps me draw curvy lines. I just click, and it starts to draw these curvy lines, and I want to just keep clicking back and forth, and I'm going to make this kind of zigzaggy curvy line going through the middle of it. The curvy line helps me see that, oh, this is a breakout view. And here I can even kind of come up like that. And then just clicking and going around the whole thing. You need to completely close your shape. You need a closed loop. And I like that curvy broken section through the middle of it. And then it wants you to know, like, we're actually going to think about this as like we did this free form, and we're going to do an extrusion, and we're going to cut away, and it's going to show us what's left, which kind of gives us some detail on the inside. So we need to tell it how far do we want to go back, and it says so you can do either blind where you enter a depth, or you can do up to entity. And since it just makes sense just to go right to the middle, I'm going to use up to entity, and I'm going to select the midpoint here on this other view. And when I then select check, it will take a second to do the math, cut it back, and go over to the back edge. And you can see now we've got the section lines from where that portion would have cut through. We've got not section lines from where there would have been like air revealed, and you've got all your new object lines. That's just kind of a cool view that gives you some additional detail about an object. So I want you to create one of those on the stack. Let's end this video here just to make it nice and short. I'll make another one for the cow catcher and the wheel and the linkage arm. Those all three have some special views in those as well.